Welcome to Fantasy Baseball, Baseball, Baseball. I'm Dan O'Day along with Steve Romano. Hey, Steve.
How's it going this week, Dan?
It's going good because Major League Baseball is still going on. The season has 1 week left. And if we're going to talk about Major League Baseball and what's going on, I guess we got to start the conversation with the Cleveland Indians.
The Cleveland Indians have just been on a tear, like a 3 week tear, just over 3 weeks, playing, the best baseball in the league, really.
Absolutely. They were 8 games back behind Detroit about 3 weeks ago. Now they're 1 game behind Detroit. They swept the series in Detroit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday last week. They have a 3 game series this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're only 1 game back, like I said, of the division lead. And right now, Cleveland is tied for the third wild card spot also.
Cleveland's in the wild card now. They're not on the outside looking in. They passed Houston, I believe. I
Yeah.
think they might have a tiebreaker with Houston.
They have the tiebreaker.
But
So, yeah, they're tied record wise, but they have the tiebreaker.
but yeah, yeah, at one point, I think on August 23rd, they were 11 and a half games
11.
back
Whoa.
on August 23rd.
A month.
And today's, yeah, a month. They
Wow.
went from 11 and a half back to 1 games back. Just awesome. An awesome run for Cleveland.
An awesome run. They're getting a lot of things to it. They're getting some timely hitting. They're getting some timely pitching. I mean, really, everyone's contributing.
Yeah, and I was thinking because I saw Jose Ramirez, I
Oh,
saw
my
some
God.
stats, and yeah, I saw some stats. So I went and looked, and I was like, is Jose Ramirez like the most underrated superstar right now of this current era? Because he's been
Absolutely.
like he's been amazing for like 6, 7, 8 years now, and he's definitely not a national household name.
No, he's not. Maybe it's because he plays in Cleveland. I don't know. He's doing as good of a season as he's having. He's doing pretty much exactly what he did last year. Maybe a little better, but about the same, to be honest with you. The guy is playing great. He's batting 282 right now. Is his batting average. He's got 30 home runs, I'm sorry, and 40 stolen bases.
Yeah, 30, 40, and he had like 40 stolen bases last year too, I believe. So I think,
41.
yeah, because I read a thing. It was the first Cleveland player to have back-to-back 40 stolen bases years since Kenny Lofton.
Wow. Good old Kenny Lofton getting a name throw. Yeah, and 7 times caught, both last year and this year. Pretty good ratio. Um, Having a great season. 114 runs scored last year, 100 runs scored this year, 39 doubles last year, 30 doubles this year. With a week left, he can add to that home run total. He can add to that double total. 81 ribbies. Had 118 last year. Only 81 ribbies, but his game, I would agree with you, well, a baseball national treasure that no one seems to know about. And he's been doing this, like you said, really for the past 6 seasons or so straight.
Yeah,
Going back to
6 straight
2018,
years.
2018, really. You got to skip over 2020, obviously. And 2019, he must have been injured. He only had 231 no, he had a full season,
Right.
282 at bats. But still, I love what he's doing. But they got a great team, you know. But listen, besides him, they got a lot of role players. Manzardo, Naylor, Arias, Kwan, Fry, Noel plays first base and DHs for him. I mean, a lot of guys like you're not usually thinking about them when you're thinking about
Yeah.
players getting it done. Um, but pitching has been great, and I think that's what's really been coming through for them. Their ace is Williams. He's having a nice season. Gavin Williams, 11-5, 306 ERA, 128 WHIP. 161 strikeouts and 161 innings. Not a bad season for Gavin Williams.
Yeah, it looks like they've given up some of the fewest runs in the American League. So they're
Whoa.
definitely pitching driven for sure with a
Absolutely.
superstar bat.
Wow, that is a good observation. Cleveland's great. And I have some friends in Cleveland, and I hope they make the playoffs. It's great to see. The only other divisional races that are going on are in the American League. New York Yankees are 2 games back at Toronto. Sure, 6 games back. You wouldn't think they got a shot, but it's happened. So 2 games back. There's always a chance. It's in Toronto's. They're in the driver's seat, obviously. And then in the AL West, Seattle's 3 games up on Houston. Now, with 6 games left, you think no problem. It could happen. So, Seattle in the driver's seat, though. Wow, that's the other team to talk about. Seattle, they
Yeah.
swept. They swept the Astros themselves in a 3-game series this weekend.
Seattle actually might be just as hot as Cleveland, to be honest. I know they're 14-1 over their last 15 games.
Wow,
And
are you serious? Whoa,
14-1.
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, they've definitely and it's all just been happening. They've had a lot of magic moments. They've had a lot of clutch hits.
Yeah,
Their rotation is all delivering right now. I know a little pectoral issue for Brian
whoop,
Wu, but they
whoop.
don't think it's going to be a big thing.
That's good. Naylor and
And
Suarez have been stepping up and playing,
Nate,
getting some big hits.
yeah, those trade acquisitions, first of all, it galvanized the team, it galvanized the fan base. And Naylor has just been amazing. And then Suarez, not as consistent, but
But
he has hit a ton of home runs. He's got 12 home runs since he joined the team.
that's crazy. That's crazy. So he doesn't hit it often, but when he does, it's out of the park. So that's another division race going on. In the National League, Phillies are 12 games up, Milwaukee 7 games up. Dodgers are 3 games up on San Diego. Once again, 6 games left. You wouldn't think so, but it can happen. So you got to bring it up. San Diego 3 games back. I don't expect them to catch the Dodgers. They're both 6-4 in their last 10.
I mean, realistically, if you had to pick a scenario, right? Because one team goes 3-3, the other team goes 6-0. Well, you're just not projecting 6-0, right?
No, no.
So maybe one team goes 2-4 and another team goes 5-1.
Yep.
Like, I guess that's doable. That could definitely happen. Not likely, though.
Not likely because they're both playoff teams playing well to make the playoffs. Both, like I said, 6-4 in their last 10. So the division races, we got a couple, anyways, that are interesting. But the wild card races are getting a little interesting, actually. In the American League, as we said, Cleveland and Houston are now tied for the 4th spot.
Yeah. The the American League is the tightest one. I mean, there's three teams there.
Yeah, Boston's only one
And
game ahead of them.
There's three teams there, and only two of them are getting in.
Only two. Boston, Cleveland, Houston. Only two can go. New York's 4 games up as a top wildcard spot. They're safe and feeling good. Yankees have been playing pretty decent, 7-3 in their last 10. A good time to play well before the playoffs are arriving. So let's go to the National League real quick because the wild card race is also interesting there because the third wild card spot is also tied there. Third and fourth, Cincinnati and the Mets are tied for the third spot.
Yep, Cincinnati, Mets tied, and Arizona one game out.
1 game.
So
They're in it.
there's kind of three teams competing for one spot, right? Yeah, 3-for-1.
And Arizona 7-3 in their last 10. Very impressive. They made the big trades, got rid of some big contracts, but really have come together to have a great last month of the year. And they are 1 game back. Let's take a quick look at their schedule. Who do they play? They play the Dodgers and then San Diego.
That ain't good for them.
Well, yes and no. Neither team needs to win.
Yeah, I
You're
mean, I'm
not.
sure
Yeah,
the Dodgers still want home field in that first round, right? Yeah, they're
right.
not going to catch Milwaukee or
N-
Philly for a
Nope.
bye,
Nope.
so they need to stay. I mean, they need
Hold
to
on.
stay ahead of the
Question to
Dodgers.
you. Doesn't the division team get the home field automatically, or is it the best record between the division team and the wild card they play team?
No, the division winner gets it for sure.
Okay,
But
good.
I'm like they got to keep playing because they don't want San Diego to catch them, and then the Dodgers are the number two
Oh,
out.
absolutely. Like I said, they're only 3 games back, but you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they're both already in, so maybe not
yeah.
the greatest matchup for Arizona, but doable, doable. The Mets,
Doable.
yeah. Let's look at their schedule right now. The Mets finished with Chicago and Miami.
Well, half of that's good.
And then the
I mean, it's real
Reds
good.
finished with Pittsburgh and then Milwaukee, who will be playing for nothing those last three games.
Yeah, Milwaukee's not playing for anything, right? They got 6 games left. I mean, they would need 5 wins to get to 100, but that doesn't really matter.
They're going to be even resting players, even though they get that bye. I'm sure some people get rest. So schedules are iffy. Let's real quick check Cleveland and Houston's. I think I looked at Cleveland earlier, but they play Detroit and Texas.
Mm.
Well,
Texas is out of it now, but they're
Detroit
still a
the,
good team.
the Texas is a good team, but Detroit series, obviously, that three-game series with Detroit will determine everything between those two teams. And then the Astros, they play the A's and the Angels.
Oh, well, that's good for the Astros for sure.
Absolutely. They've got probably the best schedule, when you say, when it comes to hopes of winning.
Yeah, I heard a stat the other day that about the Angels team strikeout percentage,
Yeah.
and it was very bad. And then it said something like over a 2 month past 2 month span. Was it 1 month? I don't know, but it was like it's it's bad, and then the next closest team is quite the jump away before there's a pack of people. So, let's say the Angels was like 34% team strikeout rate, which is fucking crazy. And
Wow.
then and then like the next worst one was like 29 and then 28 and 27.5, stuff like that.
That's crazy. See, we talk about the best teams, and the Angels do have a lot of strikeout players. We've talked about them before, but I like to talk about the worst teams also. Right. I would like for you to know that the Colorado Rockies have 43 wins, 113 losses, and their winning percentage is 276.
Oh, 276.
That's their winning
You're not even
percentage.
winning. You're not even winning 3 out of 10.
No.
Oh, that's
43 and 113. That is a bad season. And the next worst
oh
team in the National League has 21 more wins than them. So that's pretty harsh. And then in the American League, the worst team is the White Sox. The record is 58 and 98. So they will lose 100 games unless they win all the rest of the remaining games, or at least four of. Well, they can get hot. They're 2-8 in the last 10, so no, they're going to reach 100 losses. They're playing at a
yeah.
370. They're playing at a 372 clip. They're the worst teams. They're just not as good. Not good seasons for Chicago White Sox, Colorado Rockies. Chicago's a great baseball town. Colorado is just a beautiful stadium and a good baseball town. Not giving their fans much this year.
No, not at all. But looking at those two terrible teams, right? I mean, like you said, White Sox are bad, winning percentage of 372, but their run differential is only negative 93, right?
Wow. Yes.
Now look at those other two. Look at the Nationals with a negative 198, and then the Rockies negative 404.
Negative 404. I mean, more than twice than Washington. Differential. They've
And
only scored 584 runs, but they've given up 988 runs. They're going to
and
probably end up giving up 1,000 runs.
and as bad as the White Sox are, being the worst team in the American League, the Rockies' run differential is 4 times as worse.
Wow. Wow. And the worst team in the American League would be those Angels you were talking about at negative 148.
Oh, there we go.
There you
Angels.
all those strikeouts. They add up. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Let's go over some stats because I like stats. I like numbers. Baseball is numbers. I like baseball. So Aaron Judge is going to lead the league in major leagues in average with a 326 average. No surprise there, um, at all, really. Wilson's the next highest batter at 315 for the A's, and Bichette 311 for the Blue Jays. So averages back down to where we thought they'd be after like half a season of 350s and 370s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at one point, 2 months into the season, Judge was like 380 and Wilson was 370, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they were both off to crazy starts.
Absolutely, but they're back down to where you would think high averages would be in home runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cal Raleigh with 58. Obviously, you're pulling for him to hit 60, right?
Sure, that'd be magical. A nice round number. It's
Nice.
already a crazy season. You know, he had the one game he hits a homer that breaks Mickey Mantle's record, and then he's a couple days of like most ever by a switch hitter. Then a couple days later, he's breaking Ken Griffey Jr.'s record for most home runs by a Mariner, and he's hit two more home runs since those home runs.
He's the only guy at a shot at 60, unless someone goes off this week. But he's got 58, 2 home runs away. We got two other guys, 53, Otani and Schwarber. Judge has 49, and Suarez has 47.
Yeah, I mean, Judge. I always seemed like he missed more time, but he probably only really missed about 10 days, maybe.
Well, he's
Yeah,
got 521 at bats in 146 games. So if he plays the last 6 games, it's 152 games. So
yeah.
150 games. He'll probably sit maybe 1 game. So he'll play 150 games. That's not missing that much time.
Yeah, no, I thought there was like a small minor injury this year
There
that
was.
affected his
I think it was 10
counting
game.
stats a bit
Yeah,
much. Yeah,
10 day.
like
Because don't forget, it's 10 day, not 10 game. They could have had 2 off days. Who knows? Um,
right.
so that's exciting. And I just got to bring up a guy whose name is surprising. He's got 44 home runs, Caminero for the Tampa Bay Rays. My goodness. 44 home runs, 108 ribbies.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people talked about him as a super high prospect. Tampa's had a pretty good run of calling up talent. They just have a good system that produces.
They have a great system. We've
Um,
talked about it before. They have a machine of a system.
but who saw this coming? I mean, this is
Nobody.
a bit obscene, right? I mean,
Yeah.
44 home runs? He'd be
Yeah.
like 22 or something?
Yeah. He's 22, 23 years old. So that's very exciting. And then in RBIs, we got a few big ones. Schwarber with 129, Alonso with 122, and then Cal Raleigh with 121. That's a lot of ribbies.
Yeah. That usually you don't see that many of, several guys getting that high up there.
And I got to bring up runs category because Otani has 141 runs. Judge is second with 130, and then Soto with 117. 141 runs. I hope he scores 9 times this week. I'd love to see Otani get a 150 runs scored. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is sick.
That's
That's a
sick.
ton.
That's a ton of runs scored. I mean, just crazy amount. I want to bring up this
Especially
one.
for a
Yeah,
guy who can a guy
yeah.
with that you can think of generally as just being a slugger with 50 home runs, but no, he's not. He also leads off and steals bases and scores, yeah, leads the league in runs.
He leads the league at home. And you know what? You're right. A guy who has, you know, who pitches also, by the way, we got to bring that up. But he's got, you know,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, forgot to bring that up. Yeah, he pitches, by the way. He's got 53 homers, dude, and he's leading off. 141 runs. I hope he
yeah.
gets 150. I just want to bring this one up thing. I thought it's very interesting. Games played. Devers is at 158.
Oh,
So he has the
interesting.
potential to have more than 162 because of the trade.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
That is. That is. Um,
I mean, to do that too means you didn't miss many games, if any. Like you were
it,
in the lineup like every day
every day. Every day. And he could
for
go
both
over
teams.
162. Albies and Olsen has 157 for the Braves. That's counting today's start, I believe. So they could also
Yeah,
play 162 games. Alonso for the Mets, 156 games started with De La Cruz and Machado and Rooker and Schwarber. All guys playing a lot, 156 games. They could all end up with like 160 games played. That's nice to see when you see superstars getting a lot of games played.
yeah, definitely. Especially because there's so much, like with the load management that the basketball players deal with and everything. It's kind of cool to see people play 162 baseball games while they're taking like, 27. I think I did one like the Mariners did 27 um, flights this year.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I really think baseball, when it comes to a sport, I think it's definitely a sport that you need to be in flow with. Like, if you're hot, you're hot. Like basketball, you can have a bad game, the next game have your best game ever. I really believe there's some sort of ebb and flow with baseball players, especially offensively and pitching. You're in flow, you're in a good streak. I really believe that's so much more in baseball than basketball. Like I'd want to play 160 games because I don't want to lose my rhythm.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm
So yeah,
no, it's just in that aspect it makes total sense. But it's
yes,
still like, the grind
grueling. It's
of,
grueling.
you know, sleeping in a hotel 80 nights a year, taking 27 flights, all that stuff. The time changes.
Yeah,
And, it's like, let's say the seasons are like 188 days long, something like that, 186 days long, and you only get like 14 days off, maybe,
something. Yeah,
15
that
days
seems about
off.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So it can be taxing. It
It can
would
be.
seem like it could be taxing.
It could totally be taxing. It could totally be taxing. Um, but I appreciate the superstars playing a lot of games. We went to pitching stats real quick before we get off. This last week of baseball, exciting races going on. And Skeens, his ERA went above 2. Paul Skeens had a bad start, his last start. He's got a 2.03 ERA, a 0.96 whip, a 209 strikeouts, and 181 innings. Only 10 and 10, as we've talked about. He's the best pitcher. He's going to win the Cy Young with 10, 11 wins.
Yeah. And he's been hot down the stretch other than the last start.
Yep.
I mean, he really had been over the past month and a half. He'd been super, and he'd been getting the wins too, not just pitching great. He'd been getting the wins.
Who
Because at one
leads?
point, I think he was like
Yes,
2-8 or
he
something,
was. Yeah, he was 2
3-8.
and or yeah, something like 3-8, 4-8, something way below 500. So to be 10 and 10 is actually pretty impressive. Who leads the league in strikeouts? Major League, Steve.
It, it's got to be Crochet, right?
Yep, Crochet with 249. He will go above 250. He has one last start, I'm thinking. So good for
Yep, he
him.
does.
That's good for him. That's pretty impressive. He's going to have over 250 strikeouts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been everything the Red Sox would want. He's a legitimate ace. He's just not their number one. He's in a top 3 or 5 best pitchers in the league. And he like says all the great things. The fan base loves him. He's endeared himself to them already as a crazy Red Sox fan base. And
And he's only
yeah, it's been a
26.
win.
He's only
And he's
26.
26.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God. He's so young still. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, he'll be anchoring that staff for the next 6 years at least.
At least, hopefully more if you're a Red Sox fan. He's still pitching well. We talked about innings pitched because it's always interesting how many innings are pitched nowadays. Me and you grew up when people were throwing 300 innings. Now getting 200 innings is rare. We have two people in line. Crochet with 197.1 and Webb for the Giants at 195.2 innings. They are the only two
Oh, wow.
guys who have a shot. Rodon has 189, Skubal 189, Sanchez 189. They're not going to reach 200. They all have like one more start.
Yeah, they all have one more start. Plus, they're probably, well, you never know. Some of them, Detroit, they might need him. Depends what could say. But yeah, they're not pitching 11 innings over the next 6 days.
No, there's no reason to. There's no reason to. So saves, Estevez leads in saves with 41, Suarez with 40, and then Munoz with 37. He could still hit 40 possibly.
Yeah, and I saw an Instagram thing about Munoz, and it made me think, because he was the setup man for them for a year or so before he took over the closer role last year. And they traded Paul Sewald, who was their closer, to
Yep,
Arizona,
at the time, yeah.
right? And a lot of the fan base, because the Mariners were like, they were like, whatever, 2 games above 500, all that, not, it was a trade deadline, so there was still plenty of time. The fan base was torn, and a lot of people were like, can't believe you trade our closer for blah, blah, blah. This, this is how you lose a clubhouse. It shows that ownership doesn't care. But I was kind of like, no, Munoz is the better pitcher anyway. Get him in there. I mean, if you can actually get something for Sewald and you're not going to resign him, get him out of here. Do
Uh,
it. Like I didn't mind it.
that was a good trade.
And
And to give Munoz the reins was a good idea because he's come through. He's had a great season, by the way.
yeah, He's been completely awesome and dominant, like
Yeah,
dominant when
149
he comes
ERA,
in.
101 whip, 81 strikeouts in 60 innings. Just really a great season. Yeah, we have right now we have seven get people with over 30. We have another one, two, three, four, five people who might get 30 saves. So a lot of saves. And the interesting thing is, besides Estevez with 41 saves, all the rest of the leaders down to 30 are playoff teams. Suarez for the Padres, Munoz for the Mariners, Hoffman for the Blue Jays, Chapman for the Red Sox, and Duran and for the Phillies, and McGill for the Brewers. But Estevez for the Royals, who were in it for up until the last month, I'd say maybe. Um,
Yeah,
they
maybe
Estevez,
a week ago, 10
yeah,
days ago.
10, a couple weeks ago they were still in it. Now, Steve, who leads the league in losses? I'll tell you who. Freeland for the Rockies and Parker for the Nationals. 16 losses.
Mm, that's rough. I remember, right, there was a few years ago, was it what, Bonderman for the Tigers? Didn't someone lose 20 games in one
Yeah,
of their horrible years?
I forget what it was. It was more than a few years ago, wasn't it? But yes, no one's going to do that this year. Thank goodness. But another interesting, looking at big numbers, games for pitchers, games. So the people who are going to lead this category will obviously be relief pitchers. We have two pitchers with 77 appearances. Rogers for the Mets
Wow.
and Santillan. Santillan, how do you say that? For the Reds. They both have
Damn.
77, yeah, 77
So, like,
games.
basically, I mean, that's close enough to say at this point, it's half. Half
Yeah,
the games? That's
yeah.
insane,
That is
right? That'd
insane.
be
Absolutely.
154. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And you know what? They can easily get four more games in, and you know what I mean, to literally finish with half the games.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. That's an interesting stat. That's a lot of relief. That's a lot of appearances for a relief pitcher. Obviously, a guy like Rogers for the Mets who throws submarine. I think he's got like a rubber arm. They would call it. They used to call it. So he is ready to come in whenever you need them. Steve,
You
did you
know, I'm
know?
looking
Yeah, go
at
go.
all of those pictures, right? 70, 77 games, all the way down to whatever, 71, because it all fits on one nice screen.
Yes,
Uh, Obviously, their innings pitched are all lower
then their
than their
games.
games
Yes,
appeared, except for
yes.
one, Milwaukee Uribe, which is
Uh,
71.1 innings and 72 games. So he's only in there by one out, over by one out. But still, it just goes to show you that those guys they're like one man, two man specialists.
well, I'll tell you
That's what they
what.
do.
Now I understand why these guys. None of those guys are closers. Now I understand why you're paying these setup guys big money. They're pitching literally every other game almost. Some of them.
Yeah. And I mean, they'll appear in 25, 30 more games than your closer, but they're also pitching 25, 30 more innings than your closer.
That is
I mean,
crazy. That's a lot of games.
now all of that stuff. I really didn't know that. I mean, god dang, there's like
I believe
15 guys, 20 guys with 70 or more games.
I remember Mike Marshall appearing in 100 games one time for the Dodgers.
Really?
I believe so. Um, Mark Marshall, 100 games. Let's see if I can find this just on a quick. Yeah, he was a reliever for the Dodgers back in the 70s, and I believe he pitched in 100 games. Yeah, 106 games in the 74 season for the Dodgers.
Wow. So he just came in whenever they needed to get one or two outs. He came in and did it.
That's crazy. Um, that is crazy. It's a lot of games played, and these are very valuable players. And Steve, we got some baseball going on into the last week of the season. Some exciting races. There's nothing wrapped up really when it comes to the division. The wild card races. It's very
Yeah,
exciting.
no.
And this Detroit Cleveland series starting tomorrow, 3-game series. Here we go. Here we go. Detroit really floundering, falling. The best team in the majors for 2 to 3 months of the year, really fighting for a playoff spot now.
Yeah, the Tigers have been awesome all year, right? From the beginning of the year, it was them and the Cubs. Then the Cubs kind of tailed off, and the Brewers overtook them. But the Tigers still held on, and but man, the last 3 weeks, woof, I mean, it's been bad baseball, and then you time that with Cleveland doing what they're doing,
It's
yeah,
exciting.
and
It's
now they're
exciting to see a team come on like this at the end.
and then to have this 3 game series this week, it's perfect. I
Right.
love it
Well,
when
I
the drama
love that they had
works
three
out like
games
that.
last week in Detroit, and this week they have three in Cleveland. I love scheduling like that. They used to have a lot more scheduling like that before we played interdivision, AL against NL.
True.
Right. But it's
Yeah, like the
fantastic. Yep. You
Mariners
always
are finishing against the Dodgers, and I'm kind of like, ugh. I
that
mean, I
doesn't
love
seem
both
right.
teams as far as entertainment goes. Obviously, those are two great teams to watch, but I'd like something a little more like interdivision if you can
Yeah.
do it. I would prefer it, you
They
know.
used to. They used to. But the game's different nowadays, Steve, and that's why we talk about it because we love baseball, baseball, baseball. We got some exciting things going on to the last week of the season. I'm Dan O'Day. That's Steve Romano. Thanks for joining. We'll talk to you next week at the end of the season roundup and playoff matchups. Cheers.
Have a good one.